The 2020-2021 school year proved to be an immense challenge for many. While we did face many changes and obstacles, I was extremely proud of our teachers, administrative staff, and all support staff who exemplified extraordinary flexibility, adaptability, and patience as we navigated distance learning for our students during spring COVID-19 school closures. Our endeavors each school year are defined by our strategic plan, and we were extremely pleased to launch a new multi-year strategic plan for 2020 to 2025. Many elements were drawn upon to develop the new plan, which is based on the board's mission to educate the heart, mind, body, and soul of all students. Several central elements and ideologies were pivotal in the creation of the plan, including the Catholic school graduate expectations, a focus on how being holy and living a holy life means putting faith into action, and recognizing our Indigenous community partners. Anchored by 4 tenets: believing, protecting, learning, and nurturing, the plan collectively ensures that students, staff, and CDSBO partners in education are supported in all ways. Our commitment to our learners can be attested through all of our initiatives, and we aspire to ensure all students reach their full potential through support from their peers, teachers, and support staff.
The CDSBO operates 39 schools that provide quality Catholic education to over 13,200 students. The board employs 896 full-time equivalent elementary and secondary teachers, as well as 622 support staff, including principals, educational assistants, student support workers, early childhood educators, school office support, custodial and maintenance staff, board administration, chaplaincy leaders, computer and library technicians, and other professional staff employees. The CDSBO works diligently to implement inclusive practices for staff recruitment and hiring, and to prevent systemic bias and barriers through equity training programs.
Throughout the 2020-2021 school year, we witnessed the conclusion of a very successful spiritual theme, Be Holy, Joy Springs from a Loving Heart, with a focus on love of our neighbors. The Religious Education and Family Life Department adapted online virtual supports for our CDSBO students, families, and staff with the introduction of virtual chapels in our high schools and virtual rosary and Christian meditation through the Teams platform. Links to local parishes, school activities, and online resources provided an opportunity to continue our faith development despite church closures caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The new religious education program, Growing in Faith, Growing in Christ, was implemented in grade 7 classes through the purchase of online resources and curriculum supports. This marked a departure from the traditional hard copy teacher's guides and student texts. The CDSBO also upgraded access to online resources for grades 1 through 6 students. The grade 9 religion program was released on Brightspace, an online learning and teaching platform, and more online resources were provided for staff through a Catholic Educators Teams page. The Umbrella Project, a teacher-led curriculum and school-based program created to help students, parents, and staff reframe their perception of challenges and strengthen skills of positivity and well-being to cope with everyday stresses in life, was introduced in CDSBO schools. Rainbows for All Children, a program that offers facilitated peer support for students who have experienced divorce, death, or other painful transition within their family, also supported CDSBO students this year. This program builds confidence and self-esteem, improves communications, prevents destructive behaviors, and improves academic performance as students learn positive coping strategies. During the 2020-2021 school year, all Ontario Catholic school boards were invited to share school environmental initiatives with the Ontario Catholic School Trustees Association as part of the Call to Care for Our Common Home, marking the 5th anniversary of Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si, Care for Our Common Home. The CDSBO was proud to be recognized for the submission, which was featured in a provincial document entitled Together in Faith, Care for Our Common Home, that was sent out to Ontario school boards in May.
Our Parent Involvement Committee, PIC, was very active throughout the 2020-2021 school year, conducting meetings virtually and organizing online presentations for parents. PIC hosted a virtual presentation with Dr. Jean Clinton entitled Parenting in a Pandemic, Your Power is in Connection, the evening of February 17th, that was well attended and has over 600 views on the CDSBEO YouTube channel. Dr. Clinton focused on exhausted parents, resilient children, social-emotional learning, and building relationships during COVID. On April 28th, PIC provided another evening for parents that focused on mental health with an overview of resources and services for parents in our communities, led by CDSBEO Mental Health Lead Michelle Neville, along with community partners Diane Oxborough, Program Manager at the Parents Lifeline, PLEO, and Emily Castle, Public Health Nurse and Lead of the Positive Parenting Program, PPP. With over 500 views, this presentation has also been widely accessed by our CDSBEO community. New this year was also the introduction of a parent newsletter and survey created by CDSBEO PIC Chair Julie Marshall that was sent electronically to all CDSBEO parents. Throughout the 2020-2021 school year, Chair Marshall and Superintendent McDonald attended a 5-part series of virtual meetings with the PIC chairs and school board leads throughout the province. These meetings were hosted by the Inclusive Education Priorities and Engagement Branch of the Ontario Ministry of Education. Participants shared their local challenges, successes, and promising practices related to supporting parents and students as pandemic conditions evolve.
CDSBEO educators have demonstrated creativity, resilience, and determination this year, and the pandemic has proven that collaboration continues to be the reason our students experience success system-wide. Staff from curriculum, student success, special education, and religious education and family life have worked together to support school teams as they've developed, implemented, and monitored their short and long-term goals. CDSBEO French as a Second Language educators diligently upheld and promoted the vision, goals, guiding principles, and strategic focus areas of the K-12 framework for FSL. Through ongoing modeling and practice, students develop proficiency in the French language by engaging in meaningful conversations, and they are exposed to a range of authentic texts and learning experiences. Training our educators in the neuro-linguistic approach to second language acquisition increases their understanding of second language pedagogy and provides the necessary tools for students to become lifelong language learners. Many CDSBEO students choose to continue to study FSL past grade 9, and we continue to sustain a 100% success rate for grade 12 students challenging the DELF exam.
At the CDSBEO, technology-enabled learning continues to develop confident and adaptable students who are ready to tackle the next challenge in an ever-changing world. We are proud to see the many ways students and educators continue to grow as digital learners and leaders. Whether it is immersive virtual reality experiences through experiential learning, authentic STEM education, or the ability to create, design, and build working prototypes and models with 3D printing and pinpoint laser cutting precision, CDSBEO students have access to applications and tools that deliver meaningful learning experiences. The CDSBEO is committed to ensuring that our students have a strong understanding of math fundamentals as it prepares them for success now and in the future. Using digital resources and manipulatives, our students develop an understanding of numbers and learn how to apply their knowledge to enhance their critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Developing a growth mindset and focusing on social-emotional learning encourages perseverance in all tasks embedded in the new mathematics curriculum.
The Catholic District School Board of Eastern Ontario Specialist High Skills Major Program continues to thrive with 26 programs across 8 sectors. In 2020-2021, 221 grade 11 students participated in the first year of the 2-year SHISM program. There were 261 grade 12 students enrolled, with 164 graduating with a Certificate of Distinction. The Catholic District School Board of Eastern Ontario partnered with Unearth Education, Apoetic Health, and Industrial and Construction Safety to allow students the opportunity to complete the required sector-specific certificates necessary to earn their SHISM seal when students moved to a virtual learning platform. SHISM students were able to fulfill their SPE, which stands for Sector Partnered Experience, requirement by participating in the Student Leadership and Innovation Conference. This was a provincial virtual event put together by Fairchance Learning in collaboration with the Ontario Council for Technology Education. Students also took part in workshops designed by professionals from LinkedIn, Apple, Amazon, and Cubic Farm Systems Corporation. Another exciting opportunity was a virtual field trip to the Amazon warehouse. With a focus on technology, students traveled from the online store to doorstep, discovering how computer science, state-of-the-art engineering, and remarkable people deliver orders at Amazon. Despite the many challenges due to the pandemic, students persevered, overcame adversity, and were excited to celebrate their many accomplishments throughout the year.
Experiential learning funding provides programs for students to work with community partners and to deepen their learning by making connections outside the classroom. A key focus of experiential learning is the exploration of future pathways with an emphasis on the skilled trades and STEM. During the 2020-21 school year, CDSBEO community partners provided virtual workshops to help students continue their learning during a very challenging year. There were many innovative events that took place, including a virtual science fair, makerspace coding workshops, and workshops with the River Institute. The board hosted a parent night with job talks to discuss the value of a career in the skilled trades and partnered with Algonquin College and St. Lawrence College to host connections activities as part of the School College Work Initiative. The CDSBEO has, despite disruptions due to COVID-19, continued to engage students in post-secondary pathways planning, focusing on skilled trades and apprenticeships through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program. As in-school programs shuttered for in-person learning, students on skilled trades-related cooperative education placements were permitted to continue their training and learning. The strong partnerships established with employers and employer groups played a major role in assisting them in addressing their dire need to attract new workers. This resulted in numerous employment opportunities for our students, who were successful in transitioning from cooperative education to apprenticeships to gainful employment. Since its inception, the program has guided over 3,800 students towards a rewarding career in skilled trades through cooperative education placements within their school communities. The CDSBEO OYEP program continues to work closely with experiential learning and specialist high skills major leads, focusing on and providing supports to students as they choose post-secondary pathways.
In light of COVID restrictions and provincial shutdowns, many CDSBEO elementary schools found creative ways to host annual Welcome to Kindergarten events. Drive-through events, informative videos with school tours, and virtual events where parents and students could meet staff were some of the methods used to help our youngest learners prepare for their first school year. The newly developed Building Our Understanding information series was created to support play-based learning in the virtual setting. This resource supports kindergarten teachers to incorporate a playful pedagogy of teaching and learning when engaged in mathematics and literacy instruction virtually. Our CDSBEO Care for Kids program was also updated and delivered to teachers through the Religious Education and Family Life Department. We continue to be proud of our community partnerships with childcare providers, Consolidated Municipal Service Managers, and the Ministry of Education Early Years and Childcare Programs and Service Integration Branch. The new Early On Child and Family Centre, run by the Corporation of the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville and Thousand Islands Daycare for infant, toddler, and preschool children, recently completed at St. Joseph Catholic School in Gananoque, is another wonderful example of the work being completed by the Ministry of Education's Capital Priorities Program and the School-Based Early Years Capital Program.
The CDSBEO continues to support First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students in a culturally respectful way to ensure both academic success and student well-being. The theme for the 2020-2021 school year was Skyworld, We Come From the Stars. Its aim was to reflect Indigenous voices in decolonizing the night sky. All staff and students were supported in deepening their understanding of Indigenous cultures through diverse educational experiences. This included culturally relevant pedagogy, opportunities to learn from community partners, and meaningful resources. Supported by a large group of Indigenous elders, leaders, knowledge keepers, and teachers, the CDSBEO Skyworld theme was delivered by way of the traditional teachings in the Classroom Initiative. To further support the theme, Wilfred Buck, Indigenous Star Story expert, delivered a virtual keynote speech for the CDSBEO's annual Indigenous Education Day on May 5, 2021. The pandemic allowed for further creativity in a cross-curricular way through videos from knowledge keepers, virtual tutors for self-identified students, and virtual support via Microsoft Teams for Indigenous Studies courses. The board's introduction of MyOn by Renaissance also offered teachers a wealth of vetted Indigenous learning material. An Indigenous student counselor was added to the CDSBEO team to support transition agreement students in conjunction with the Akwesasne Mohawk Board of Education.
The Special Education Department continues to provide individual supports to students who have been impacted by learning disruptions during the COVID-19 pandemic. In order to build staff capacity and maximize support for students, various professional development opportunities were offered to staff, including such topics as behavior management systems, trauma, autism spectrum disorders, and the ALERT program. We also continued the important work of educating school staff in the science of reading. The science of reading professional development included topics such as thinking in sounds, phonemic awareness, beyond the basics, high-frequency words, and the ins and outs of sound walls. Our speech and language pathologists modeled the use of sound walls in classrooms and virtually when appropriate. Students are making great gains in reading as a result of this board-wide focus. In addition to the various trainings offered, all CDSBEO vice principals completed the Special Education for Administrators Additional Qualifications course, where they learned about the importance of their roles in supporting students with special education needs and the impact their advocacy can have on positive outcomes for our most vulnerable learners. Once again this summer, we were blessed to have educational assistants supporting the summer learning program. This additional support ensured a learning lift for students and allowed them to achieve their learning goals. Many students with special education needs also benefited from being able to participate in the end of summer transition program, where they had the opportunity to connect with school staff and refamiliarize themselves with their learning environment and school routine. We create the best schools in the universe by our actions and our modeling. Through careful collaboration, support, planning, reflection, enthusiasm, and caring, the special education team worked to support students and families by having high expectations for all students while ensuring that wellness and belonging were always at the center of their work.
The mental health of all students, staff, and families has most certainly been at the forefront of our work in the CDSBEO as we navigate the global pandemic. This year, CDSBEO partnered with Canadian Lung Health Foundation to educate parents, staff, and students about the dangers of vaping and cannabis use through webinars. The Quash app, an app to help youth quit vaping, was also created and advertised to our students. The CDSBEO relies heavily on strong partnerships with various child and youth mental health community agencies to support our students and families, including Open Doors for Lanark Children and Youth, Children's Mental Health of Leeds and Grenville, Cornwall Community Hospital, and Valoris. Through these partnerships, many presentations were provided to our schools virtually this year, including CHEO and YouthNet's Stressless and How to Help a Friend, Hopewell's Celebrate Every Body presentation, and the Unearth Education Summer Mental Health Certification course, which was offered to summer e-learning students. Additionally, the board introduced a new guide for supporting students struggling with mental health and substance use, and mental health support staff updated the board's suicide prevention, intervention, and risk review protocol.
CDSBEO completed its third year working with Dr. Nicole West-Burns, a provincial leader on equity initiatives who helped school teams identify an equity-focused domain throughout CDSBEO schools with a goal to deepen the understanding of practices in culturally relevant and responsive pedagogy. Throughout 2021, Dr. West-Burns continued her work answering the question, What does it mean to belong? Building on our previous work focused on the marginalization of students experiencing poverty, schools continued to reduce experiences of discrimination in our schools. Schools, in collaboration with the Equity and Inclusion Committee and Department of Religious Education and Family Life, worked to ensure practices that provide equal access for all students to school experiences where everyone feels reflected in their schools. On December 10, 2020, International Human Rights Day, CDS-BEO adopted the International Decade for People of African Descent. On this day, a commemorative placard was mounted in all CDS-BEO school foyers. Special announcements, prayers, photos, and focused readings highlighted this event in schools. Each school received a copy of our tangible commitments, which is included in the CDS-BEO Equity Action Plan. One of these commitments was the promise to include community partners and voices in our Black History Month Planning Committee moving forward. CDS-BEO was very honored to be recognized by Black History Ottawa with the Every Child is Sacred Safe Child Friendly Community Builder Award in January of 2021. This award is offered to those who pledge to honor all children of the Maple Leaf, children of all human colors of the sun, to honor sanctity of their human rights, the delicacy of their innate goodness, enable their joy in experiencing the gift of life, and to support them as practitioners of the Golden Rule in the spirit of Ubuntu. Holocaust Awareness Day on January 27th was honored with live events with Holocaust survivor Eva Olsen and Lisa Hendy, author of I'm a Saint in the Making. All CDS-BEO staff and students had the opportunity to attend one of the live events in their classrooms. In recognition of the United Nations Day of Elimination of Racial Discrimination in March, results from a human rights art contest offered to all CDS-BEO students to provide an opportunity to become more aware of our universal human rights, entitled Putting Our Hearts into Human Rights, were announced. Winners received the book I Am Every Good Thing by Derek Barnes and Gordon James and Chapters gift cards. Students were encouraged to create their work by watching a short video on the history of human rights, reading the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, reading selected materials, and United Nations websites.
The board remains focused on its financial goals around making resources matter and being fiscally responsible. KPMG LLP presented their unqualified auditor's report to the Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees approved the 2021 financial statements on November 2nd, 2021. Total operating expenditures for the 2021 school year were over $199.2 million. Although the COVID-19 global pandemic has been and continues to be challenging in many ways for the staff and students at CDS-BEO, the provincial school closures, following the April break to the end of June 2021, contributed to an operating surplus for CDS-BEO.
As Catholic Student Trustee for 2020 to 2021, Kenna Delage represented the more than 13,000 students across the board. The school year was one with many obstacles and challenges, but the board theme of Be Holy, Joy Springs from a Loving Heart was evident in the many events the Student Senate helped support, including CDS-BEO Week, various mental health initiatives, Orange Shirt Day, and CDS-BEO Indigenous Education Day, all while inspiring faith, empathy, and a sense of community. The Student Trustee and the Student Associate Trustee for the 2021 to 2022 school year are Julia Vo from Holy Trinity Catholic Secondary School and Ella Scott from St. Mary's Catholic High School. In their role, they will lead the Student Senate, which is made up of representatives from all CDS-BEO secondary schools.
I would like to take this final opportunity to applaud our students who continue to achieve much success in their endeavors and who continue to demonstrate fortitude in the face of challenges. They make us very proud and give us this opportunity to celebrate. I also want to thank our staff and community partners who, no matter their role, work diligently to provide amazing opportunities for our learners.